Now we will start with the Pandas data frame and see how we can plot every data we get. So first we have a data frame. It's pretty simple. We have a few names, ages, and salaries. And here we can see everything in a nice table. So first, there are two different ways to plot Pandas data frames. So the first is pretty simple. We use the data frame as a dictionary. So we will do pld.plot and then we pass this simple data frame. So we could pass df from names. And then we could also the ages. Then we set a few labels. Want name, want the age. And we could also set a small title. And then we show it. And of course, it's not named names, but name. Okay, here we can see it. Default plot. And this also works for every other plot we already know of. So for the bar plot, we could just change this and we have a perfect bar plot. With the names and the ages are the by label. Okay. Then next, it's not a perfect example with a histogram, but we can also plot it. So we only have 5 values, so let's say we only use 2 bins. And we change the labels. And then we can see we have a simple bar plot with a histogram with 2 bins. Then a scatter plot is also pretty simple. Want to scatter the age against, let's say, the salary. And a perfect scatter plot. Then next we also have the box plot. Let's copy this. We only plot the age and we don't need the X label, need a Y label. And of course we have to type box plot. So default box plot, and last but not least, a pie chart. So a pie chart is a bit more complicated. Use a pie, but before that we have to group everything we need. So let's say we have age groups, and we use df.group by, let's say we want, I already named it ages, so age, and then dot size to get the sizes. Then we will plot these age groups. Then you can see we have a nice pie chart, but let's also add a few more things like the labels. So first, we want to label every color we have. So now it should work. Okay, now we have labeled the color with the pages we already had. That's not so nice. But let's also do the percentages. So let's say we want the percentage with 1 decimal place. Okay, that also looks good. And next is the, let's say, easier way to do it. It's to use the built-in functions of the Pandas data frame. So we can simply say df.plot, and now we have to say what do we want to plot. Let's say we want for kind we want a line plot. So we say line, and then what we want in the x and y axis. So for x we want the name, and for y we want the age. And we also can set a small title. And now if we plot it, we have everything we want. So of course plt.show can also be used. And that's basically it. And we can also use many different kind of plots again. Instead of a line, we use bar plot. So we simply say bar. Now let's say we want to plot the age against the salary. And also set a different title. And it looks good. So afterwards, histogram. So every time we want to change what kind of plot we want, we can use any of these options. A line plot, bar plot, histogram, and so on and so forth. We have many options. We don't have every option of Matplotlib, but we have the most useful ones. So yeah, instead of always saying we want the x and y axis to do everything differently, you can also say df of, let's say, age to plot something. And if we do it, we have a not very nice plot, but we have a plot. Of course, this is only an example. There are better data sets to use it. Then next, we use the scatter plot. Let's scatter the age against the salary. And we want scatter. So this also looks good. And now there are 2 plots missing. One is the box plot. So we say box, and let's only plot the salary in this box plot. This is also easy. And then the last is the pie chart again. So here we say pi, and of course we have to group by again. So we say again h groups this df dot group by, and we want to group by the age, and we want the sizes again. And now instead of df, we say we want the age groups dot. Okay, perfect. Then let's get to Seaborn. Now, Seaborn is built on top of Matplotlib, and it's a bit easier to use, and it also looks better, but it's a bit less customizable. So if you want to use some really special functions, then Seaborn might not be for you, but generally it's easier to work with. So let's first load a simple dataset. For that we will use the Seaborn tips dataset. And plot it. So now this is a dataset. It's pretty simple. It's a dataset from a restaurant where people went, paid their total bill, and then we also have the tip, the sex of the tip payer, then if the tip payer is a smoker, and what time it was, and the size of the table. So yeah, let's start with a simple isPlot. For that we only use sns.isPlot. Then we want the tip to be plotted. And let's plot it. So that's pretty simple. So of course we have some options to customize it. Okay, it's not only some, it's many options. So right now we have bins on auto, so I think it was set to 10 here. We can also set it to, let's say, we have 233, so let's say we use 15. But then let's also plot a line. So let's say KD is true. Here we can see our KDE line, and we now have 10 bins. Oh, the bins are 15. Okay, we can also set 50, but you get it. Okay, then next let's do a scatter plot. They look quite nice on Seaborn. So we say sns.scatterplot. Then we want to set our data to tips. On our x-axis, we want the total bills. And on the y-axis, our tip. And let's plot it. Okay, this doesn't look that good. We could also, for example, change the colors, but first, let's say we want to also group our points. For that, we say we want to group by the time. And perfect. We have now grouped it by time. For green we have dinner time, and for blue we have lunchtime. And we can plot by everything else we want. For example, if we want to plot by male and female, we can also do it. And next, if you want multiple plots, we can use sns.pairplot. So if we only use pairplot with tips, this will plot everything against each other, but of course it's not grouped again. So here we will group it by, let's also say we want to group by the time. Or let's say we want to use male or female again. Now we have 9 different kind of plots, and they're grouped by male and female. And with this you can always choose which plot you want to use. Okay, then next let's do a simple one again. So we use boxplot. The data are our tips again. And we want to plot by which day and to the total bill. And let's group by time again. Oh, it should work. Okay, that also looks quite good. And here you can see like Monday, Wednesday, and so on. They are missing, but you can also change everything. So next, let's do a special one, the violin plot. So let's copy this. Let's say we want day, total bill, and we keep it, and then we also do it later. Okay. So now if we do a simple violin plot, it looks good. And we can also split the left and right one, which also looks a bit better. So we only have to set split to true, and now it's split. And of course, every time you want to know what you can do, just look at the documentation. You can see we have split, dodge, orient, whatever. You can do anything you want. And last but not least, we can also use Seaborn to plot a beautiful heat map. Using heat maps in Matplotlib alone quite a few lines of code. It's not much, but takes a bit. But for Seaborn, we can use the simple sns.heatmap command. But before that, let's get a correlation matrix of our dataset. For that, we say correlation matrix equals tips.correlation. And then we plot it. And let's say we also want to annotate it. Now we have a beautiful heat map. Of course, you can also set different types of colors, for example. But I would recommend to you to change everything so you can see what everything else does. And here I have a link where you can look at multiple kinds of plots, their documentations, examples, and so on. It's quite like a Matplotlib. You can do everything you want. And for further reading, I have many examples. For example, an older lecture on Matplotlib, then Matplotlib examples, and we have many examples here. If you want to do anything, just click on the link. You will find what you want to do. And the Seaborn examples, there are also some examples. So here we have a heat map or joint grid, whatever you want to do, you can find it. So, thanks for watching and have fun learning.